Today I've got a special guest. Now, you may not know who he is. He goes by Malcolm FleX, or his new Twitter handle, Return of the Flex, because he recently got booted off of Twitter and has made his triumphant return. And, I've actually been trying to get him on my show for quite some time because I always tend to appreciate his takes on things. And it is a pleasure to bring on Malcolm FleX. Welcome to the show, Malcolm. How you doing?
Oh, how's it going? How's it going? Sorry, I didn't know I was a person after I got depersoned by Lord Dorsey. So, being back online is a very, very surprising development for me.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
doing well.
How was that? You were in Twitter jail, or is that count still in Twitter jail? I mean, I don't even know.
I,
Are you breaking rules? I'm not sure. Am I like blowing up your spot right now?
you may be. I was in the gulag,
Ooh,
definitely.
the cyber
hmm
gulag. I hear it's paradise though.
It is. They give us one meme a day, and we live off of that. We
that's,
subsist off of a single meme.
that's all you get.
hmm
Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it's one that you haven't seen yet.
I know.
So let's talk about you. A lot of people might not know who you are. I've been following you for quite some time. I know you're in the medical field, and let's start there. What is your main profession?
All right. Well, classically, I think people would probably say that I fall under the broad umbrella, first off,
Oh,
that is scientist.
oh
But
goodness sakes!
so, again, since
That means
everybody's,
nothing.
I know, since everybody's a scientist these days, but no, I'm just a researcher.
Okay,
So I actually specialize in clinical research, which means
okay,
that we typically work with patient pools and we actually collaborate with a lot of hospitals or a specific hospital where we're centered out and we draw patient pools using MDs at that facility
okay.
to basically they act as the PIs or the primary investigators for their studies, and they allow us to conduct the research, call up their patients, have actual research visits, and,
Ah,
execute certain research protocol with them. So it's a
interesting.
nice little robust field, but there's a lot of divergences and things where, again, if you're not careful, people will get the wrong idea about
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I actually make a joke. I've actually made plenty of jokes that people think that I'm always in the lab 24/7, sitting up here doing, working with all these different Eppendorf pipettes and, conducting, creating essays and stuff like that,
Mhm.
But no, most of it, especially with how research is these days,
Yeah.
has been gone dry. So it's a lot of surveys, a lot of data collection, a lot of sorting out, parsing data, maybe some statistics, but there is still some lab work. But research ain't like what they show in the movies, where you got the evil guys in lab coats.
Yeah.
hmm
I have to ask the first thing that pops in my head though, because I've read different medical studies and so many medical studies. My goodness, I am so over
Yes.
it. And they're difficult to read sometimes. But I've also found a lot of them many times contradict each other. Right? So I'll read one
hmm
study and then I'll read another study that basically says the opposite of the other thing. Um, so you say you work with hospitals. How do you know that the information that you're getting is accurate and not, um, you know, fudged to prove a narrative that then you're getting specific ones? Like do you know that it's raw data? I mean, it's your industry, so I'm sure
Right.
you have some knowledge of that.
Unfortunately, that's all up to human error typically.
Mm,
Normally when a CRO or a contract research organization basically reaches out to you and wants to use your site to conduct research, there'll be moments where, again, you can either hire a team that's specifically tailored to that staff, or if you have people on there who have an interest in the studies that you're running, you can basically bring them. You can basically say, hey, do you want to do this study? If they accept, then
yeah.
they basically learn the protocol, and then next thing you know, once they've gone through all the requisite trainings, they've basically cleared things up with your clinical research associates, which honestly, those guys, they're overpaid, but man, they have a sweet gig.
Yeah.
That's but
Is
once
it,
you go, you clear things up with the clinical research associates. They make sure that you're in the green.
yeah.
It's basically on them to conduct research, make sure that they're entering the data properly, make sure that there's integrity, and that when they're admitting patients to studies, that they don't have any disqualifying factors, or
Yeah.
no risk to the patient, Sometimes you have to have your primary investigator sign off on specific people because they might not be in the ideal patient population. And so you really don't know what you're getting, which is why you get so much variance. And that's
Yeah.
the only front end on the data collection and then entering it into EDC or electronic data capture.
Yeah.
That's just the first part. Then you have to have the back end review, and there's a lot of the publishing of the information that's left up to the sponsor or client that we're conducting research for normally. So
Okay.
again, you don't know what they're going to be using your data for. All you know is that you're consenting, you're seeing the patient, you're handling the samples, doing whatever preparation or conducting whatever experiments that the protocol basically, specifies. And then after that, you don't know.
Yeah.
So that's the dirty little secret of the industry. A lot of people don't actually, they don't think that it's that many moving parts or that it's that complex, but yeah, it really is.
I mean, I've felt like it would have been pretty complex, because it takes forever to get going through things going to be approved. I would say that even that isn't enough sometimes. But that's interesting.
A lot
So
of people
what?
think it's just put chemical in the beaker or the flask, shake it up,
Shake it around and see, it works. Aha, yeah.
I know.
So is there any specific branch of the medical world that you're more focused on? Like virology or I don't know, anything. What is it? Are you just kind of like, I'm just the research guy? Like, you want me to research? I'll go over the numbers. You give me the different people and do exactly as you just explained. Or is it kind of like more specific on something that you're researching?
Well, I'm actually a generalist, and I think that's actually the appeal. But
Yeah.
I'll say though that there is a common theme in a lot of my studies that, barring the one study that I'm contractually unable to talk about, there is,
Okay.
Precision medicine has ended up becoming kind of a niche for me.
Yeah.
That's basically just the process of customizing your medical approach to a patient's individual genetics or just, their whole genome. So there's a very big area of growth there, and that's actually where I center around. I happen upon it. A lot of people don't like to do those studies just because there's just so much that you have to learn on the front end with the protocols, and it's kind of an area where you're siloed in. So
Well, it almost feels
that.
It feels like that's kind of where we're moving. I mean, are you seeing that a lot, that we're really starting to make specific medicines per the person that's it's so hard to not instantly have a question that would get me banned because I there's something I want to ask.
I know what you want to ask.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it's like we have to have specific medicines for each individual body because we are very drastically different. Not one thing could work for everyone.
We're basically
I'll leave it at that, right? I guess I can't really get too much into details, but so that's awesome. So you're clearly you're very knowledgeable about the industry, and that's why that's why it's very entertaining. If you guys don't know, this guy is a professional dunker. He absolutely shreds people apart very openly, very brazenly, and it's almost like a sport to you on Twitter. It's very fun to follow him. I actually posted it in the link below. There is or in the description, it's a link to his new Twitter or his current Twitter page. I'll just say that. And so you can watch him go to work. It's almost like a side job to this guy. So it seems. And, you've been very vocal about it, and Twitter banned you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why did they ban you? Because from what I've seen, you call a lot of people out, but it's with logic, and I rather enjoy that part of it because you don't. I mean, you're rather spicy sometimes, but you use the logic like a freaking baseball bat. So what happened? What was the tipping point?
I think the tipping point was kind of in my last couple of days. Again, my approach really went from a scalpel to, like you just said, a baseball bat.
Okay.
I really started using so many insults like cudgels only because there's so much intellectual disingenuousness or disingenuity when it comes to discourse online and on Twitter. And at some point, you get a little bit jaded. You
Yeah.
get to the point where you're just like, you know what, man, I really don't want to talk to this person. But for some odd reason, they're under my tweets where I said nothing about them, made no specific reference, as if I summoned them to give
Yeah.
their opinion. So,
Yep.
my friend Ron Coleman, he's pretty spicy on the back end of a lot of things. He actually he told me on his podcast when I was there after I had first, disappeared. He said, man, like some of those guys that, are in our little group, man, we saw you getting real greasy. And I was like, what, me? Really?
Me?
Literally?
What?
No, couldn't be.
Yeah,
But
right.
I owned up. I'm a man of, I am a man of many things, but I will always be at the very least intellectually honest. And so I owned up to it. I said,
Good.
you know what, you're pretty much right. I started turning up the savage a little bit too much because it is addicting. It's like, especially when you do, when you counter ratio where people think they're coming on, they're going to make you, suddenly apologize or put your account on private or be like, oh my God, I can't do it. All the mean twits and stuff. And, it's just like, bruh, like
You're,
y'all don't realize y'all are giving me entertainment. This is
yeah.
actually perfect.